Look at how beautiful that broth is. So today I want to show you how to, ultimately make my version of hamburger helper. A lot of chicken, a lot of veg, pasta, because it helps extend it, but just the right balance so that you have a healthy amount of carb in there, an incredibly luscious sauce. But it all starts with homemade stock, homemade broth, and poaching your own chicken, which seems like a lot of work, but read that essay that was at the top over this video, and I think I will have convinced you that this is what you want to be making for dinner. So this is why I love doing recipes like this for you, because I have my all-time best recipe for stock, chicken stock, already in your hands, right? Now I'm going to show you how to take stock and turn it into really rich broth that has even more collagen with one pot dish, one pot. But it does start with 6 cups of this magical chicken stock, and we're gonna poach a whole chicken in it for about somewhere around 90 minutes. Now, the beautiful part of this is that kind of like the other day when we did the pantry pasta, this is a refrigerator freezer pasta. I'm just grabbing vegetables and things that I have in my refrigerator. I usually always have a chicken, and I've got my stock on hand. So super easy. Let's get to it. 6 cups of that beautiful golden chicken stock. Turn your heat on to low. Here is a beautiful chicken. It weighs about 2 3/4 pounds. It is whole. It is a nice, fresh, organic chicken. And I am lowering it into those 6 cups. The thighs, which take the longest to cook, are in the bottom, submerged. And what's crowning outside of the pot is the breast meat. We are gonna bring this to a simmer very, very, very slowly. To the pot, I'm going to add a half an onion, the end of a head of celery, and a large carrot that I've cut up. So we're just gonna stick that in there. I have a cover that we're gonna work later on once this comes to a nice, steady, very low simmer. Okay, starting to simmer. Put a lid on that. Lower the heat to the barest, whatever your lowest setting is, and we'll come back in 90 minutes. Okay, so let's get our vegetables ready. I'm just gonna slice some of these cremini mushrooms as we're in the shoulder season. Yes, the dogs love it too. They can smell that chicken broth. Slice up some of this celery. I love celery. With the chicken broth, celery becomes, in my opinion, magical. A couple of washed carrots here, really thin slices. Great technique for dicing an onion. Draw the knife through. Don't wedge it in. Very simple dish that I'm going to wind up making for you. In fact, it is something that you can get going in, put on the dinner table in a matter of minutes. All right, a couple of rosemary sprigs from the garden, some thyme sprigs from the garden. I'm just going to marry them together and hold them in my left hand. A piece of kitchen string, I'm just going to drape it over, and I'm letting the short end, right, the long end towards me, the short end is going to drape over, and then just twist the long end around. Make a very simple knot, and here is a very simple bouquet garni. And I've got this lovely shallot. Okay, this has been poaching at the barest simmer for 90 minutes. The chicken skin stays intact. If you simmer too aggressively, you toughen up the chicken meat, especially the white meat, and the skin gets damaged. So now what we're gonna do is we're just gonna turn the heat off and we're just gonna let it sit like that for about, well, sometimes I go a half an hour with the bigger chicken, sometimes I go about 15 minutes. I just wanted to gently finish cooking. But this right in and of itself is a recipe you'll want to use over and over again. You're just poaching chicken in homemade stock to make a really rich chicken broth. You sprinkle a little salt in that broth and you could drink it like consomme. Look at how beautiful that broth is. And I am going to take this chicken out and we'll go ahead and strain this, but boy, this is the golden elixir of life. And then all I want to do is pull all the meat off this chicken. Remember, this chicken has given off all its delicious flavor. But remember, probably most importantly, it has not been cooking for days. There are people who will save these bones. I just like saving all this delicious meat, and I mean every little piece of meat from this carcass is gonna get picked over 155%. This is all of the chicken meat from that entire chicken, and here is the broth after I've strained it. You may be asking yourself, Andrew, the math doesn't make any sense. You started with 6 cups of broth, and now you're telling me that you have 8 cups. Well, that's because the chicken itself gives off liquid. I'm going to use probably about 2.5 cups to make the chicken pasta dish. Well, a lot of you may be asking, Andrew Zimmern, why do you have a wok? Why do you have a wok? A wok is just this 17, 18-inch piece of metal that's curved up, but it's deep, but it has a great surface area. And the first thing that I'm gonna wanna do, put a couple tablespoons of butter, and we're gonna let those shallots sweat for a little bit. Shallots are sweating, got a nice high heat underneath there, and very carefully, because I don't want to add, if you get a little piece of onion or carrot in there, it's not the end of the world. I want to cook these mushrooms and caramelize them. That's the whole point here. Remember, you can't brown in the presence of moisture. You can see some of those mushrooms are starting to brown. Throw in a little bit of garlic. So when you start to see that, you don't want to burn anything. We stop the process by adding something that's going to give off a little bit of liquid into the wok when we add the heat, and that's our celery, carrot, and onion. And now I'm going to add about, a quarter cup of really nice sherry, 2 cups of stock, and I'm going to add 2 cups of really, really nice matzo rigatoni, little baby rigatoni, half rigatonis. And I've turned down the heat a bit to about medium. Every 60 seconds, I'll add a little bit of broth to this. And I'm just gonna keep doing that until this pasta is cooked through. We just pulled vegetables out of the vegetable crisper, nothing fancy, but man, oh man, the flavor is 4-star. Season our liquid, just a little spritz of lemon. I promised you this is a family style chicken dish. Add our last knob of butter in there, a little bit of salt, some black pepper. This is my version of Hamburger Helper. And we are done. Now it's time to go ahead and plate. This is that sort of autumnal meal in a bowl. It's a chicken stew that has pasta in it. A little bit of parm curl. This is a winner every single time for you and your family. But most importantly, how does this taste? Homemade chicken broth, all of those veg, heaven.